All right, welcome back. And we are just getting into that time of year. If you guys saw the last couple videos where it's fix-it time of the year, or fix-it season. The bench is one of the things that really does need to be fixed. It just needs to be cleaned up. One of the antlers, several antlers we found in the fields this year. Luckily, we only managed to find one with a tire. And it was a little spindly thing too, but it wasn't this one. I've been giving all the antlers to my brother-in-law. He's actually got a couple things he wants to do with them. The last thing I actually heard he's planning on doing, he's trying to find one that nice actual shed that he likes, and he wants to make a knife out of it. Well, not, make a knife handle out of it. So I thought it'd be kind of neat. Otherwise, I know he said something about doing a light fixture or a chandelier or something with it. But I got all my sprayer parts here that need to be put on, and I'm going to be doing the liquid with it, as opposed to doing any herbicide spraying with it, because we're actually very realistically, I could be using this within 30 days to a month, give or take, just because of what time of the year it is. But I gotta go through and get this cleaned up. I gotta do some work on everything. The planter, the post driver, I broke that the other day. The 630 disc is still kind of for sale, but we gotta get that cleaned up, greased up, and unhooked off the 82. From what I understand, we have the part. I think we have the part for the VT, and we'll get the VT back up here, grease that up, so that's ready to go this fall, and we'll be good to go. So I actually got called out on the corn planter, and it was actually from a viewer that I know actually comments not super regularly, at least as far as I can remember, but I'll actually respond to people that aren't just going out of their way to be negative. And this guy's comment, I don't remember your name, otherwise I'd say your name, wasn't negative. I didn't see it was negative at all. But basically, long story short, he asked, am I actually going to do what I've said I'm going to do to the corn planter? Because I've been saying that I want to do this, that, and the other to the planter, and I have not done it yet. Now, largely, he was asking if I'm going to take the fertilizer boxes off the planter. Well, I think that was either an autocorrect or a misunderstanding. This planter does not have any fertilizer boxes on it. It has the liquid fertilizer right there. That's the only fertilizer this planter has on it. I think is what he meant, which is what the comment was really aimed towards, was, are we going to do the 3 bushel boxes on this planter? I would love to. I'm pretty sure he meant, am I going to take the insecticide boxes off the back of the planter? And honestly, we could really take them off right now. The reason that we could is because they do get in the way when you're walking in between the rows, right through here. When you're picking the seed boxes off and dumping them out or whatever else, I am thinking about pulling these off, just because that's not a lot of weight, but they are kind of in the way. Are we going to do 3 bushel boxes? A, I would love to. B, they're kind of expensive per row. I think it's well over $100 a row. Dad was actually the last one that checked, but the reason that we haven't done 3 bushel boxes, I would actually like to do it for soybeans. Corn, not so much. I can actually plant, in a full decent day of planting, I can fill the planter twice. I can do about 40 acres, give or so, in a day. If I fill the seed boxes up completely to the top, at the populations we run, I can plant right around 40 acres, and I was running right around 95 to 100 acres a day on the days that I was planting corn. But the reason that we haven't, other than the dollar sign issue, long term, we're not looking so much in the short term with this planter, but is mid to long term down the road, we would like to do electronic drives on this planter, on our row units. And that means getting rid of all of these chains, the drive unit, the tire, all of that, all these chains, all this becomes useless. So we can take it off. It's dead weight. But the problem is the electronic drives do not work for the 3 bushel boxes. So we do not want to invest the money into putting the 3 bushel boxes on and then not be able to update to the 3 bushel boxes, or to the electronic drives. I mean, then we'd be going backwards. So that is, other than the money issue, you take the money issue aside, that's really what it is. Because we really would like to do electronic drives. It will actually help keep our population more accurate going across the field, because the computer will actually speed up and slow down the row units to keep the population where we want it, and it doesn't fluctuate so much going across the field. I think that'd be awesome, but it's an expensive upgrade, and let's just stay away from the prices, or the current price topic right now. Planning is done, and it's kind of hard to really talk about wanting to put a whole lot of money into the planter right now. I do need to do some work to it. The arms for the gauge wheels, the bushings are getting bad. I'm not sure if I'm going to do just the bushings or if I'll replace all of these arms all together. It all comes as one piece. Sloan's Express has those for like 25 bucks a piece, or I think it's just $8 for the bushings. But I have to pull one off, clean it up, and decide what I really need to do. That's like a mandatory need to change out. Also, the seed disc openers, those are $25, I believe, per disc opener. Leaning towards doing that. So there's easily $1,000, and that alone. The closing wheels, I really haven't discussed it that much. We're trying to decide if we're going to go with the Schlegels or if we're going to go with the Copperheads. With the Copperheads, I can actually buy, I don't know if it's exactly those or if it's just the Deere equivalent, but actually we have the rubber closing wheels on our planter originally, and this is the same core that the rubber closing wheels have. I can actually buy these plastic teeth here, pull out these bolts. The plastic centerpiece will actually fall out, and I can actually replace the rubber piece with these plastic wheels. I am still trying to decide what I prefer. I think a lot of it is really banking on seed emergence, and we are just now getting soybeans coming out of the ground, and the planter isn't going to get put away, or unhooked I should say, until probably the end of this week. We'll start seeing a lot of the seeds coming up out of the ground. Today is the last cold-ish day we're going to have. It's in the 50s. Tomorrow they're calling for 60s, and then after that it's just a slow steady build up to 80s. I think they're calling for 3 or 4 days in the 80s next week, so that's going to be a pretty big change, going from the heavy coats to probably wearing cutoffs. But we need rain. We're missing the rain. Well, a little bit we are getting is not adding up to anything. So if we had some rain and some heat, these crops would shoot up right out of the ground. Our pasture grass is sitting idle. It's just not doing anything. I let the cows out down at my place, not because I wanted to, but kind of because I had to, just because they wouldn't cooperate with me and I was on a time crunch, and I wanted to get the cattle out of the pasture they were in so we could get between the two fields. And they were out in that pasture for less than a week, and they had it completely mowed off. And it was not it's not one of the small pastures down at my place, because they had access to 2 of the larger pastures, and they were already pushing the fence after not even a full week. So yes, the reason that we're not doing the updates to the planter like I would like to do, maybe that's what I should be saying more, maybe that's what I have been saying, but it's not coming across as that. I would like to do the 3 bushel boxes. I just don't want to back myself in a corner. It would be awesome for doing soybeans, because I could do, right now I can plant between 15 and 23 acres, depending on the population that we're running, per fill-up, planting soybeans. And if that would get us up close to 40, we wouldn't have to fill up so much, and it is nice not having to have somebody there, which we don't always have somebody there to help you load up beans. But it does free up that extra person to actually go harrow ground up, which the person that's usually running the harrow is typically the one that's there helping you get the planter filled up and keep the planter moving, because in the spring, in this weather, which this year has actually been pretty mild, the stress hasn't been there to plant, but if the planter's not moving, and you should be, it's potentially lost yield in the fall. So yes, we haven't done the 3 bushel boxes because we would like to do the electronic drives, plus the fact that it is over $100 a row. It's kind of hard to justify that for the amount of acres we're running at the moment. We are expanding. We did pick up, Ryan picked up another farm. I actually picked up that hay farm. We did have a bunch of ground that was offered to us, over several phone calls, because I just put an ad in the paper. And I've had people that were calling. I had a lot of people that were calling asking what I was willing to pay on marginal ground, and this isn't central Illinois. I think you guys get a pretty good idea what I'm coming at from that statement. Plus, when it comes to renting ground, I don't like renting ground that it doesn't get me excited to farm it anymore. I mean, when I was young, and I'm not super old, but when I was first really getting into farming, where I was definitely more, I'll farm anything I can get my hands on. Definitely backed off away from that, and anymore it's if I don't get excited about farming it and knowing that I'm gonna be making a profit, I just have no interest in renting certain farms. So this has to get cleaned up. Some updates that you guys haven't heard of before yet, at least I don't think you have, that I would like to do to this planter. I would actually like to change that hitch out. It's just 2 bolts, and I don't know if they have it. They probably do if you do a little bit of searching, but because this planter sits so low on the front end, you can see with the seed firmers, they do hang down. I have 2 bungee cords on each of these outside rows to keep these up a little bit better, because that has saved me at least a few times this spring already. But I would actually like to look into getting a different hitch for the front of the corn planter that is mounted from the 3-point. And what that would hopefully allow me to do is be able to pick this planter up a little bit higher when we're transporting between fields and farms, and takes a lot of the wear and tear off that drawbar, because that was a new drawbar I believe 3 years ago, and it is, well, it's grinding away pretty quick. There are those plastic bushings you can get, but it seems like I always have good intentions to go and buy them and put them on, and I never do. So I hope that answers your question, and it was a good question. It was, I've said I wanted to do it for how many, 2 years now, and that is exactly why we haven't done anything to it. The planter does all right now. It keeps us moving, but Andrew actually asked why we don't do a CCS, central fill system, for this planter, why I don't purchase one. I didn't even know you could get a CCS bulk fill for these style planters. He claims you can. It's probably going to be out of my price range or out of my willingness to do that or set this planter up for that, because let's face it, at that point, how much more money do you want to put into this planter before you consider just upgrading altogether? And I see having this planter for a fair while yet. So yes, that's all I got for this. The planter does need to be cleaned up. I've been saying that for a while now too, but the problem is I'm actually waiting for Ryan to get back. He went to go get some ear tags because he says that he's got about a dozen little baby calves out of his place that we need to go and wrangle. So I'm waiting for him to get back so we can go out and finish that up. And then I got to go run all of our boundaries. Not all of our boundaries, but I have to go through and redo all of our waterways. So all of our field boundaries are okay, but because of Nutrien, their self-propelled sprayers have individual shutoffs on each of their spray nozzles. They're going solely off of, well, it speeds them up, they don't have to, but they're going off of the maps, the boundary maps, the border maps that I'm putting in with the waterways and the field boundaries. So their shutoffs for their nozzles work going through the waterways, and it makes spraying so much quicker, so much simpler. takes a lot of the stress off the sprayer operator, and it takes a lot of worry away from me, so I don't have to worry about them spraying off all this grass waterways we seeded in the spring. So I gotta do that. I broke the handle on the post driver, so we gotta do the planter, the disc. The 735 has to come in and visit Dr. Travis, I think is what somebody else said. I gotta get that in here really quick. I'm thinking about going ahead and putting the quick hitch arms on it, because the 82 has a quick hitch on it. I can use the 82 to pull the 735 up here, at least get it up here so I can work on it. I'm actually thinking about putting the quick hitch that came with the 46 when my dad bought that. We can't run the quick hitch on the 4640 with this planter, because then we got to worry about hitting that Red Ball Systems mount. And I'm actually thinking about putting the quick hitch on the 7600 so we can hook and unhook from the disc bind that much quicker this year. So how is that for rambling, right? We were putting fence in the other day, and completely not my fault, but I broke this, which the welds we're only holding in 3 little spots. Looks to me, it wouldn't take much to fix. I'll just take that roll pin out and clean it up and weld it back on. This arm is actually good for holding the posts in while you're pounding them down. Otherwise, I use my hand, which is super dangerous. I'm surprised more people didn't call me out on that in the other video, but you do it enough times, you know that you have to be careful, as long as you don't get in a hurry. When you get in a hurry is when people get hurt. So, oh, and yes, another thing that we got to work on. I don't know if you guys can tell what that is, but my Honda is kind of hobbled right now. Ryan and I just got back from taking the tires off this and one of the tires off Brittany's four-wheeler. She had a flat on hers. I have no idea how that could happen, but the front 2 tires on this were bald. I mean, completely bald, and they weren't holding air. So I went and took those over for a little over $200 for the tire and mount. I can actually have a road wear tire. And the road wear tires will hopefully save me a little bit more money in the long term. The rear tires on this one I'm gonna run for 1 more year, and I'll swap those out with the new tires. They'll match the ones that are on the front. But the guy over at Tandem did say that these are a low wear tire for on any kind of pavement, and I'm on the roads a little bit going between the farms, and these really do burn off pretty quick. So with that, hope I didn't ramble too much. I probably did for some of you. That's okay. You're watching the rest of the story. Take care, take it easy, keep in touch. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys later.